That's okay. Well, I will give a very small. This is part of the slides. We talked about this yesterday and in other events. Everybody knows that augmented reality and virtual reality are connected. And this is important because we'll have a discussion later on about the trends and what's happening. What is to retain its VR is for immersive experience, such as gaming and simulation, while AR we use in education, in classrooms, in maintenance. So it's a more practical approach. Okay. We can see, and we saw yesterday what is the difference. There is the virtual, and where we are. We are in mixed reality, somewhere between real and the virtual, and we are in the just beginning the slope. So augmented reality, as we saw also yesterday, overlays digital objects and information in the real world. We can use several techniques. Most of them are glasses, glasses, or tablets, or smartphones. We don't expect to be really immersive. We expect to put things in the real world. Okay, so virtual reality puts us here, there, and the augmented reality is interacting with.
Excuse me, Joao. The presentation is a little bit wide. It's not clear.
It's not clear. If I do this, better?
It's a little bit smaller.
Better?
For us, it's fine.
Huh?
For us, it's fine.
Like
it's
this?
okay.
It's okay like this? Yeah, because I can scale it wherever the scale that you want, okay? So we can see that there is interaction. We have experience using augmented reality for training. You can see a training here of someone that is placing a robotic arm in a plant. This is a company that is called Theorem. This is instructions. Okay, he follows instructions and is helped by the augmented reality to put the robot in place. This is called commissioning in industry terms. That is the terms that is to put the robot in place. Here, someone is having instructions to solve a problem in a motorcycle. Okay, and here we have the most common case of augmented reality that we are using today in the world. That is the use the displays that are in the windshield of the cars, because they put information between us and the cars. They are not so perfect like this one. This is a forecast of the technology to come that is made by Texas Instruments, but it's something that will happen. Now we are starting to have mixed reality. This is augmented reality, where we interact with the glasses This exists. You can have a Teams or a Zoom discussion while fixing a robot, so you can have interaction, and what you see is communicated to the other person in the other side that gives instructions how to do, how to fix. This is very useful. We are thinking in the company where I work, we are thinking of having something like that because we do commissioning of the EV chargers. We produce EV chargers, and the EV chargers are shipped all around the world. We sell EV chargers in Australia and New Zealand, and people that are putting the EV chargers to function have difficulties, and our engineers could help them with something like this. Okay, so I have a special interest in this. The other thing is to have a discussion with someone by Zoom or Teams and work like that. We in the culture and in tourism industry, we have several examples. Here you can see an example that this is from my holidays. When I come to holidays, I always look at, sorry, these things. Let me just show. This is something that is augmented reality. You are in the Pope's Palace in Avignon, in France. You have a tablet that scans a symbol, and this symbol and this puts you in a place. Sorry about the camera woman, that was not so great filming, but you can see that I could see this room as it was in 1344 and interact with something that there was, and this is augmented reality because this is an example that happens and works. We have seen in Guimarães, but also here. Here in Montreal Port, sorry about the sound. There is a special ball. The ball has marks. It's read by this camera, and this camera gives some puts an image that is superimposed to the ball that you could interact and enter other places or have information. It was like a kind of mouse. Okay, it was not working very well because this is very sunny and the camera had some problems, but it worked, but the interaction with smaller things was difficult. Okay, so in augmented reality, we are now facing several challenges that this is the part that more speculative, and I was thinking and writing about it. We have several channels that impact the adoption. And these are really practical things that need to be fixed and take care. One is tracking and calibration. As you saw in Toronto, there was too much sun. The conditions where the tools work, it's difficult, and we need to take account of it. And this is essential for creating something that is special and convincing, and that people want and like to use. Also, sensors can lose calibration, and this is not always nice to use. Most of the things use camera images and acceleration and GPS. Most with the acceleration sensor that is in smartphones and tablets. Okay, but they are started mostly by patterns. Okay. One thing that is not really standard and is still difficult because there are many tools, it's the content creation and integration. We the creation of high quality content is very difficult. We will see Thursday the creation of content. I will do with a tool something in real time, but the quality it's always difficult to guarantee. The tools are not really standard. The the there is no let's say when you are programming you have already a subset of language that you use and you can focus in those technologies, but the AR is it's still in somehow in its infancy, so there are many tools, many models, many types of things, and you need people specialized in using the tools. It's not it it needs to go more mainstream. More people need to make content. Content needs to be easier to do. The tool that we use Thursday, it's it's uh, augmented reality, but it's not what we will produce. It's not really useful. Okay, it starts something, but it's not. We will not finish. So we need integration with tools that do something. Okay. One thing that needs to improve, for example, it's the business tools need to be to have already a capability to create augmented reality. The user interfaces change because of the multitude of tools. Okay, no, there is so many tools that user interface and design and everything. It's every time you have an experience. When I was in Port of Montreal, I had an experience with interaction, a different something that was not very intuitive, but it worked. In Pope's Palace in Avignon, I had a different experience. We had a different experience in Guimarães Castle. So there is no uniformity. We in computers we know that when we press the X in the right side, upper right side, we close the window. Even if it's Linux or Windows or Mac, is something that is kind of accepted, but we don't have this kind of uniformity and user interface. So there should be a standardization. Computer PCs standardized about 1984 when someone decided that the user interface was like that, and this worked. I believe that creativity needs to be open, but to be open, it's like let's say Frank Lloyd Wright was challenged to make an house with standard elements, and he was capable of doing. and we need to be creative with standard elements that people can understand, because the learning curve needs to be flattened. Okay. Privacy and security. AR. collects information. Most of it's location, because we use GPS and data captured by cameras. Most of it's kept between us and our device, but there are always concerns. Okay. And the things that I talked already, the integration with existing infrastructure. We need to integrate AR in our systems. So that we can use it with more useful tools. There is cost. There is still cost. Hardware is still expensive. The glasses for AR, or the most common hardware that is smartphones and tablets, it's not expensive. GPS and acceleration chips come from $300 to less than $1. So every device now has a GPS, or can have a GPS and an acceleration. So the most important thing, the interaction is there. The camera is on most of the thing. Most of the times is just for starting something. And the last part, it's the ethical and social implications. We talked about already about privacy, but there is important to have an integration of everybody. Everybody needs to use. We don't have to. We are working in literacy. The objective of this project is to help the literacy, so to minimize the social implications. But we cannot. These technologies, there is a gap in adoption of technologies. Europe, or most of the countries, have people that are not technology savvy, but we need to have everybody in the same boat, so that we can use these technologies. And we cannot forget that in Africa, or in small countries in Asia, like Bhutan or Nepal, telecommunications network is not enough to well, AR. Extended reality is the same problem. Most of the problems are the same. Just to emphasize that we talked yesterday, there is use of these technologies give motion sickness and discomfort, and fatigue, because we have an internal ear, and what we see. This is the problem that VR is very concerned with. AR is different because we interact with real world, with superimposition of the artifacts. It's not so bad, but there is something that our senses don't feel, and we can have motion sickness and discomfort and fatigue. I would be emphasizing AR and learning. It's like this, like Zoom. When we interact in a classroom, fatigue is less intense than when we are remote, at least for me. So the market, as we said, is still in the infancy. We have a market size that is growing very fast. Okay, you can see that is accelerating. Okay, this is the forecast. So we are in the 2017 and 16 billion dollars. Okay, and we expect to be this is about 50. We expect it to be in 2026 in something like 300. The companies that lead this way, and it was stopped yesterday, are the same that we connect from from every technology. It's Alphabet, it is Google, Apple. There is some other smaller companies, but most of them have been incorporated by now. Microsoft, Samsung, the gaming industry, which is Nintendo and Sony, and it's not here because they are participated by other companies. HTC, that was in the start of the smartphones, that and it lost a lot of presence, and is trying to survive in AR and VR. So there are a company that produces gloves, that is Saber Glove. Aeon produces glasses. It's concurrent of Alphabet and Facebook. So it's a market that is always the same companies, but it's important that somewhere in the middle there will be someone that will disrupt this market and will be very important to the market to create the standard of the market. Okay, I think. So the share augmented reality represents more money than virtual reality. This is expected because augmented reality for now does things more useful. I know that gaming and cinema and things like that are important and generate lots of revenue, but I think that it's important to also emphasize that augmented reality, with its possibilities of being used in business, learning, and the other things it's bigger now than virtual reality, and should it be? Okay, we have already AR in e-commerce. Okay? We talked yesterday. We have Shopify, AK Place, that is phased out, but will be reintroduced. For example, I'm remodeling an apartment, and I'm using a tool that helps me to design a kitchen. Okay, IKEA has a tool, but I can very easily design a kitchen. It's not augmented reality. Let's say it's more CAD and virtual, because actually I simulate the kitchen, but nevertheless it uses the same technology. IKEA is migrating these tools from an app that only works in a smartphone to something that works in the web, and it's CAD oriented. So I think it's a very important effort, and will be very important to bring these things to mainstream. Probably I will show Thursday also the a little bit of the tool of designing a kitchen. So it will be I can then show. The AR is using in games.
My goodness.
We have games like Pokemon Go that yesterday we already talked, and we use the AR in education. Ricardo will have an experience in a classroom with a teacher, and we'll show it in tomorrow. Ricardo, I don't know. I think it's tomorrow. And there is in healthcare, and in Thursday there will be also something to show and to show you these things. Okay. I will now present a small video that we had in about the market that we did in our multiplier event.
Belen, can you please switch off?
Okay.
Belen,
What's
please
exponencial?
switch off your micro. Belen,
Exponencial. We can.
Belen,
Elias pode cortar o som.
deixa eu ver. Ok. Let me see her name.
Then I will.
Oh, she cut it.
Okay.
Sorry.
I will share now a video. Just a second. I will share now a video that we made in our multiplier event that is about the market context, and I think it's interesting, and it will be the idea that you will have to.
And then I will introduce you for some challenges that we are challenges and opportunities that we are facing in this market. So the first thing is that we started with this sector of tourism and culture because not only just in case, because we have a background in our company working with museums and culture. We are a spin-off from another tech company that is called.
This is also a company that we presented in our multiplier event. This is it's focused in tourism and other things. I will shortcut some of parts of the intervention because it was quite long, but I think it's interesting so that you can have a market overview of and forecast different from the numbers that I showed you.
Gema Digital, and so we were already in this sector. This sector is a really important part of the worldwide GDP, and we have 2 billion travelers worldwide. We have 1 billion.
They are focused in tourism, as you can see, and the idea is to put this technology in tourism and cultural institutions. So, and in PowerPoint you have the presentation of that they made, right?
Visitors to museums, and we have also 450,000 museums and cultural institutions in the world. The first thing about our sector is that, as I said, our history almost started with COVID.
And I forget to say the name of the lady is Mafalda Rica, and she presented first is technology, then the market forecast. Okay?
And COVID basically changed everything. And not only because we were planning a product and a solution for a market that was not there anymore, but because people started to experience AR and VR in a very different way, because they needed to, because they were at home. They needed to experience virtual tools, immersive experience, because brands were showing them this kind of experience, and then they were at home, they tried, and people start to engage with these experiences. I always say that this area, AR and VR, had like a really amazing moment with COVID because of that. Everybody was talking in conference and studies that AR and VR was really promising. And actually, nowadays, we say that the value of this market is 200 billion for the next year. And the thing is that, of course, that's COVID helped with these numbers because of this reason. People needed to use this too. We saw several museums that started to open their doors virtually. That happened with Google Cultural Institute. That happened with several other museums that were so traditional, and they start using this kind of technologies. And in general, as I said, AR and VR is a market, is a technology that is growing a lot and that is valuing a lot for the next year, and it's growing a lot through these years. But also there are other areas that we are working on that are really potential and that have a really interesting potential as a technology in the market. One of those is metaverse, and I don't know if you talk about this in the morning. But
here you can see that in 2024, it's already 200 billion industry. There is a market cap for metaverse that we can believe or not, because somehow this kind of parallel universes somehow failed, okay, already, some of these things. But the truth that is, we already have an industry that is moving billions, okay, dollars. Of course, already when this conference was held, there was already a problem. NFT, let's say, market collapse, and I think that was predictable because there were so much hype and things like that. But I believe that NFT will be important just to legitimate some of the tradings, not to be valued, but to be to show that the products that we see are the real thing. We will not emphasize in NFTs because this is blockchain and more related to blockchain, and there is models in these courses that is related to blockchain. Probably we can try to have something with the colleagues that give the blockchain and put some material about it.
yeah. Okay, so metaverse had its ups and downs, I would say. In the beginning, a huge hype. In this moment, more or less, people are using that, but we see that companies are still investing on that, and this is not just the case. I mean, Microsoft is $69 billion, and so many companies investing on these areas. It's just not just in case it's happening. Then mobile gaming, it's an area that we work with because we also are targeting to gamers. They like to be teams that engage with these kind of platforms that have gaming techniques, and we are targeting to these sectors too. And the NFTs, which is something that is maybe have the controversy between those who believe and those who don't believe. But the fact is that for the new generations, for Zs and millennials, it's still something that we need to think about. Of course, that we cannot think about the NFTs as something that has been hyped, that had in the past. The first big NFT in art that was sold was by Beeple by $69 million, which is something that we all know that doesn't make sense and doesn't value that number. But after this hype, we believe that, of course, people, the new generations are still keen to interact with this kind of technology. And so for us, Explora, what we do, these are the opportunities that we have in the market. So we can work AR and VR to talk about extended tourism. We can talk about meta tourism and having cities coming to life virtually. We can talk about gamification using this learning of trends. And NFTs, again, the opportunity here is not for the $69 million of people, but it's for looking at NFTs as something that in our case, in the gamification system, makes sense as a reward and the utility. The future for NFTs in our for our system, and in a sense, NFTs, just NFTs, maybe they might not make sense, but NFT utility, why not? And it is just a digital asset that is transactionable, and by the way, is useful for your daily day. It's useful for going to the museum and having a discount. It's useful. So when it has utility, maybe it makes sense, and that's what we are now trying to explore. Actually, we won a project with Florence city in Florence to use NFTs as passes, as a city pass, and we are working on this project of this month. Are we converting to metaverse? So this is really polemic, and most of, I don't know if everybody here tried to go to metaverse and try to understand what it is.
Okay, I will.
And I believe that
skip this a little bit because it's a discussion that
they are not the only one. 65 million daily users for Roblox. So this is something.
Here I jump to a platform that is something that we don't use, we don't know, but is taking the new generations. That there is already 65 million
that we
users.
cannot ignore.
Okay?
We can say that it's just for kids. We can say that it's something that is not, yeah, but it's something that we cannot ignore. Maybe because our kids, and in my case, maybe because my daughters will be used to go to a metaverse and meet their friends. And so this is the reason why companies are thinking about metaverse and are going there and are investing on that and are putting their houses there or their stores there. I have my house in the metaverse I do that just for try. Let me check what is to have a house. We use it.
Great.
12 million people worldwide.
Just to so that you
Still
can
announced that it's going to have a city metaverse to interact with their citizens. Even Ireland tourism started to look at this as a way of showing their landscape, as a way of promoting themselves. Manchester City announced the metaverse with Sony, which was an interesting investment, an interesting sponsor for Manchester. And then we have some museums in metaverse. We have this museum central. Lost the connection. Okay. Then we have spatial, which, by the way, it's really interesting. It's open and you can go there and see. purpose. I'm going there for a specific purpose,
I will
don't say,
skip this.
but something like that, yeah. Then we have National Museum of Korea that started to have a museum of themselves on a version for kids to start to interact with this museum in the metaverse. So this is how is the status quo at this moment. Arts, that's SSTs open up an opportunity also that
I will
cannot
skip this
be
because it's not really in augmented reality.
Gave to the world
But-
new business opportunities for sure. Okay, that is for sure. There are several people that are making money with this, and we cannot ignore. And this is a way of new business model, new revenue models, which is interesting. The
So
Web3 generating, of course, the democratization of all of these.
I will stop here because it's about the industry, and now it's about generating revenue with augmented reality and things like and virtual reality. But we'll discuss this later on more thoroughly today. Okay. I will restart because I introduced the company and I showed the forecast. I didn't show what they do. I will be very fast to presenting because probably people don't know. They are called Explorer, but the site is Go Explorer, and they have a portfolio of something or some. They work in Porto in this kind of technologies. As you can see, they have augmented, virtual, gamified, and NFT. I will briefly show an example. Some of these examples, for example, this one is interesting, but it's not easy to show now with I can show because I have an emulator of a mobile phone, but it will take long. I will go to show something that is easier to present. That is a virtual tour. Sometimes this is not really augmented reality. This is it's more this kind of things. But you can see the technology. This one is to present a company that the process of a company that makes engineerization. Okay, so they show the dispatch room that they have with everything that is normal with imperfections. You can see that the door is not perfect with the imperfections, and you can go and travel the experience and show.
Is testing our ability to deal with what we can see.
And present things that are. I went very fast from the other rooms because this is one that is interesting. You can now navigate the company, okay? And it's a kind of different to explain the what are happening, what the company does, okay? What is the process? It's way of marketing. So the ones that, for example, this one need a smartphone, and I can show you very fast what this can do. Just a second. It'll be a little bit smaller in your screens because I need space. Just a second. I'm preparing. So I will share all my screen. Probably it's very small, everything for you now.
It's okay.
It's okay. You can see. You can see my mobile here.
Yeah.
And you can go, for example, here, install an application, but we will do the one that is easier to. For example. Okay. I will do lens. Okay. Lens, you can see my mobile if I'm reading, and he's reading. Now I use, and the mobile is here, and you can see I've experience working in the oh no, in the counts in the you can start things, okay, and have a cultural visit. Yeah, they have these kind of marks or QR codes in the city. Of course, if you want, you can use au pair. Of working authentication. Understand the problem. Yep. Okay, I'm installing the application. Okay. Open. So we should be able to use it with a monument or something like that. Okay? But the idea is to superimpose things in monuments. Okay. Nevertheless, I was not ready for this experience. It was just to show you the portfolio that they have and understand why I present the AV experience. Okay. So returning to our presentation. we were here. We already discussed this. There are several types of augmented reality, triggered or not. Most of the things are triggered. The examples that we saw were triggered. The marker-based AR, that is the most common, that is, and that will present Thursday an example. Use the camera and a visual marker. We will use a photo as a visual marker, not a QR code. That is very easy. It's more interesting to have a photo. So we will present a technology that with a photo, it starts something, okay? And displays content in our mobiles. It's what I represent. There is markerless AR, that is computer vision algorithms to recognize and track objects. This is an example. You can use Google to identify objects and somewhere. Projection based that projects digital content on real world surfaces. This is like putting a puppy that you can also do in Google. If you say bear or something like that, it can put a bear in our context. Okay. I was thinking if I can show you. Let me just show. Close. Okay. Okay. You are seeing my screen. You can ask for bear, and Google, for example, gives you the possibility of loading a bear and put it. Okay, in my space. This is my office, and I can put the bear in my office with the real dimension. Okay, so this is an example of the position. Yeah. A very easy one and very easy to do for everybody. Okay. Forgetting the bear. This now in the speculation camp. I made the connections between AR and several types of the several subjects of this project. Okay, so this is speculation. This is something that I thought that was interesting. I think it's my speculation. Of course, it's based in something in studies and some bibliography, and I will try to explain how the other related. So we now left one part of the presentation and start the other. Okay. we have the relationship between data science and augmented reality. It's very easy to explain. If we can specialize the and put the things in context, we can do analysis. Okay. We for example, we have data-driven AR experiences that we can use analyze user data. For example, in the near future, you can use a camera, your mobile, and look at the lamps and the things that you have at home, and try to understand what is the consumption. So this is not truly science fiction. We can already do something like this. In my company, we already have a technology of augmented reality. I cannot show you here. I should have filmed to present, but in a later session, I will present also further in a small video. We have a networking equipment. We film the equipment with the mobile phone, and he gives the throughput of each port. Okay? In our mobile phone, it opens and gives the throughput of each port, which people are connected to that port, what is the wireless things that we have connected there. So it's a mix of data-driven AR because it uses the data from the network and the network devices with computer vision and object recognition, because it recognizes the devices that are in front of him. Okay, so we use computer vision and data driven, because it mixes the two. Okay, the two A and B that we have here. So it's a interesting thing. It's a real thing. I use it not so often because I use the console more than the console of administration, of networking administration. But if I'm near a rack that is a network rack, I use it just to see, or just check up if everything is okay. So it's not very useful at this moment, but it gives a vision of this consumption of problems that are happening, and things like that. Okay. Algorithms also can be used to identify and give more accurate estimates of the surroundings that are in users. So let me try to give an example. If several people use the tool, you can use that tool to give more accurate information. A simple example: Waze or Google Maps use all the users that are connected to the network to improve the estimation. So it's really data science, because they know what is the throughput of the traffic there, and they use the throughput of the people that are driving, so that they can estimate your arrival time and the best routes. So it's a and then they can feed your sorry. They can feed your augmented reality wood, for example, in a car, so that you can change your direction and use better the road infrastructure. Okay. The same thing. This is also performance or optimization. Uses user feedback and patterns to identify. Okay. And the user behavior. It's the thing that I hope that it will be will have a positive impact, because, as I said, our interaction is very poor now. We need a common set, different things to interact. Our user interfaces are not standardized, so analyzing user behavior we'll have an improvement in our applications and try to work it better. So the relationship between AR and VR, it's what we will be talking. This is nothing. This slide is nothing new. It's about the definition, goal, and user experience. And what is important is that we are less immersive, but more down to earth. AR, as I said, and as I show you, has a wider range of applications. It's being already used in gaming, education, healthcare, retail, architecture, and in the industry. And VR is more used in gaming and entertainment. Okay, it will be used also in simulation and training. We will be training surgeons. Will be training with a virtual human. Because it's cheaper and it's more realistic than the rubber ones that sometimes they use, and so we can think of mixed reality or extended reality that combines the elements, because some of things that you saw that are virtual elements, virtual digital elements put in a real context. So the example that I gave you in the Pope's Palace in Avignon, it's a virtual environment that is it's put in a tower, and your experience is with reality and with the virtual environment. So it's AR, but including virtual elements. So versus streaming and AR and VR. This is the relationship between VR and streaming that is similar. Okay, I focus in VR because this is for all the course. It's not for this course in augmented reality, and I will then focus in augmented reality. VR is important for streaming is very important for VR because you can stream content directly, and entertainment industries now it's content over the internet. The next Netflix in 10 years will be also VR. Instead of downloading and having an experience with something local, users can do it on demand. So we can also stream on demand. People expect to use this technology on demand and not with already in house videos. Also, streaming can help to avoid the processing power that is required for VR, and helps to 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 have cheaper material. We will have also real-time interactive, so it's easier. It's easier to have scalability. So since processing power is taken from user device and put in outside on remote servers, this helps. And with a centralized infrastructure that is cloud-based, of course, it's easier to create a distribution of experiences. So, what about the AR? The relationship is like VR, but will be very. It's more pragmatic. It's the same thing. We can enhance streaming by creating overlaying objects, graphics. The example that I have here in the screen are from the Formula One. Formula One has an interactive application. During the races, they give special information. You can see special information. You can see drivers, choose drivers, and be inside the cockpit of that driver, and you have the acceleration and things like that, and the speed, and that they are suffering, let's say. Streaming platforms already use this for many things. For example, football matches. Now you have the possibility of showing the goals when you are seeing another thing. So you can use elements, or you check the offside. So it's the same thing. Both benefit a lot of streaming. Okay. Streaming and blockchain have the potential. This is related to the connections that I made between the several aspects of this project. Streaming it's natural to consume blockchain, because the streaming and the industry and as you can see the NFTs, and as I show you in the Explorer presentation, or as Mafalda told, it's important the monetization of the projects. So it's important to generate revenue. And to generate revenue, we need technology to secure and to have content distribution in piracy prevention. So blockchain helps us to do that we can be sure that the content is securely distributed, and there is no unauthorized access. So reduce piracy, of course. There will be some technology to also make piracy, but we can do it. It's one way of skipping it, of avoiding. And it's also important to have a royalty compensation, because people that will be doing content will be able to sell the content and ask for a fair compensation. So it's the same thing that this is a matter of discussion in industry, because as we can say, already in music, Spotify and Tidal, artists complain that they have not shared part of the compensation, but okay. This is digital rights management. That is the control of the licensing, distribution, and usage. So it's based in blockchain, or better, blockchain will enable a more fully permission system and will facilitate the licensing. So you can share this kind of content to that person for that method. And for example, you can let people edit and other people just see. Okay. One thing that Mafalda also talked about is fan engagement and tokenization. So you can visit museums, for example, and for example, be compensated by tokens that you can use to visit other museums. So you can create loyalty programs. It's completely, it's like to have a passport and get stamps in the passport. So, but getting perks in this process. This can be you can, for example, in hypothesis, you can change these tokens for other things and in other places. So it's important, okay, to have data security. Of course, the nature of blockchain gives control of personal data. So if we decide to stop sharing, we can also decide to get down the line and get everything from the streaming company. This relation, we can see that is kind of far-fetched because it's not so. It's streaming. It's something that is associated with technology and blockchain with security. So it's not so easy to connect them. But I think it's important to have the idea that they are compatible and make sense. And they are, and blockchain. Of course, AR it's the same thing. We can use blockchain for proof of the ownership and authentication of AR, of digital assets. We can track the ownership and provenance of virtual objects and collectibles. We can create decentralized AR platforms. We have not seen this kind of platforms. I think we still, as I said, we still need some standardization, some evolution in platforms. But I think with the decentralized AR platforms will be very interesting we will see a start of the process. As you can imagine, music was very different from before Napster and the P2P. So when before music be decentralized sharing, it was, of course, it was piracy, okay? But it was the startup of everything that we have now by streaming. So it's important to have decentralized platforms, but we will start legally this time, not like music that was not really the experience that artists wanted to have. And blockchain will also help to prevent data breaches in AR and data collected by AR. Of course, the relationship between blockchain and coding is quite direct, because it has to be implemented by coding. I will not cover this in detail, but it's what it is. We have lots of questions about this. Our time is getting so I will skip a little bit. But we need to understand that coding and software programming it's important for blockchain, and blockchain for guarantee the best practice in coding and software programming. We have several questions that I have put here. One of the proof of work, that is to prove that we did make that work, and the ownership, that stake, that we are the owners, or we have the right to use it in algorithms. Okay. AR, of course, I think it's intersections. There is an intersection between programming and AR, and we are still in the phase that programmers are needed to create immersive AR experience. So there is a direct relationship between AR development and the software, and there are already tools to create a set of tools and SDKs, or software development kits, that provide APIs to create AR applications. This, of course, it's used. We need these standards because it's impossible to a developer to have the knowledge of everything that he uses, and of course also there is the AR development elements like Unity or Unreal that already uses language, so it's software programming. Cybersecurity. Of course, coding and software are related to blockchain, as we saw, but also we need to introduce cybersecurity in coding practices. Okay, this is important tools to have a idea of what is secure coding practices. It's important to have an idea what is software programming and what is cybersecurity, even when producing AR. The techniques that they are using for cybersecurity are important to handle the secure communication protocols in error handling, and cybersecurity professionals also are important to identify what is wrong with software systems and analyze and reverse engineering to understand what are the problems. Also, it's important to have a secure test and penetration. Okay, People use this to validate systems. It's important because now with GDPR, we have only 48 hours to notify the authorities, and it's not to notify, it's to fix. Okay, I don't know if you are aware, but if we find a security breach, we have 48 hours to fix it, not to notify, to fix it. The development cycle needs to be include the cybersecurity tools, and we also need to use frameworks and libraries. And these frameworks and libraries rely somehow in the blockchain to implement security controls. Okay? Of course, and this this last part is in the security breach. We have coding skills. We have to have coding skills to have an incident response. And forensic analysis, because we need to if user data it's involved in security breach, you need to fix it. So people need to know very well, and we have to have coding skills, very effective coding skills. And they are in cybersecurity. Of course, AR it's coding, so it's the risks are the same. AR devices introduce new security risks, glasses, tablets, applications, all have the possibility of introducing more vulnerabilities, okay, new vulnerabilities. So we need to process that. We need to comply with the new regulations, like General Data Protection Regulation that already talked. And we need to protect sensitive data, location, images, and user interaction. Okay. Authentication access, it sometimes is needed to assess control mechanisms. Implement strong authentication. It's getting easier now. We are losing the model that we are using, that is the password, and the password with to multi-factor authentication or two-way authentication. It's it's obsolete. Okay, we will change to a more efficient. It's called passkeys, the method, and not passwords. I don't think that the name is right. It's something that uses your email and use a biometric or something that try to authenticate you. So AR will be using that. Of course, secure communication, it's easy to understand. It's just to use networks with encryption or something like that to avoid the interception. And the secure development practice, everything in code now needs to be with the skill using the secure technology. What we expect in we expect increased adoption AR is more sophisticated than the formal. We expect it to appear in retail, not big retailers like IKEA or supermarkets. In manufacturing, it's already being used in training. There is a thing that is called a digital twin that we can use with data from the production to make a production line in a digital way, and we can superimpose that digital line with the real one, and see what are the bottlenecks, what are the errors in simulation. Because the idea is to create a twin. Okay, we can simulate, for example, if we produce. This is used, for example, in Electrolux to produce washing machines. If we produce only one washing machine in the morning and another one in the afternoon, what will be the throughput? But for example, if our demand is for several types of washing machines, what is the best to produce them? And or if in the line we produce washing machines and laundry machines, washing dishes. Okay, we can make. It's important to it's an interesting concept because it uses augmented reality, data science, and operational. Em português, investigação operacional,
Operations management.
operations management.
Management, yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
So we expect advances in hardware. The hardware will be lighter to use because some of the glasses are heavy and are not very practical. We expect to be more immersive. I don't know if immersive is the right word, but let's say that it will be more transparent in our life. There we expect integration with AI. AI it's advancing. We can create content and we can use that content to give more intelligent AR experiences, and it can interact with the environment. One example, we can be in the street and have a special AI can identify that we are going in some way and give our advices. Okay. In the education and training, we'll show in Thursday something like this. It's important to have the idea in education is trailing a little bit to training. Training in the industry, we already use augmented reality, as we can, as I showed you before. We can, because, for example, robo is quite expensive, and it's easier to train people with something virtual or augmented. Integration with high-speed networks, because the speed with streaming is important. Okay, as we can see or we can saw in the previous integration with social media. I'm not very fond of this, but because social networks stagnate now, and I think it's a nice thing. I'm not a believer that we can we should interact by social networks. We should interact person to person. But it's what it is because they have the resources to invest in this area, so can start by a year. And AR will expand to new areas like architecture, interior design, and real estate, because now, for example, and people that talk about virtual reality, we can see architects rendering the wall, a virtual wall, in with CAD and 3D Studio and other applications. But for example, an interior designer will be much easier to him to go to the place with the owners and see and show them, put these glasses. They put the glass and they see the elements that he wants to put there superimposed in the real thing. Okay, so our real estate can show very types of decoration. It shouldn't be fixed in one decoration. So virtual is nice, but if you can go to the place, feel it, and have virtual elements put in in reality superimposed, I think will work very well. And I think will be something that VR will be helping AR, so they will be quite nearby. So this is the examples that I already tried to show you. We have this example, the wood, okay, from the simple one to the one that is superimposed to the windscreen, to the other one that I already showed, that is putting elements of driving in the screen. One example, a classic example, it's the Google Lens that has visual search. It's the example of augmented reality that can go to something, read, and give elements in the real time. This is example of the Snapchat, where companies like Prada, for example, have tried to sell things like there. This is IKEA, place that puts elements.
Hey, IKEA would like everyone to know about Place, our new augmented reality app. Built on Apple's new AR kit, you can easily place true to scale 3D models of IKEA furniture in your place. Scan, browse, select, move, and place. So that could mean less of this. And less of this. And probably more of this. We want to make it.
So we have example. We have other examples. The poster we have for the example, or location-based AR that we can walk in the streets and use, or more less useful but some fun, a keyboard that is projecting our table. So just to finish, we have the AR connectivity. It's used, needs to be takes several forms. Internet connectivity, because it needs internet. Wireless, because it needs the experience to connect to nearby devices or internet. Cloud connectivity to have the content. social connectivity to interact with the other users in the AR environment, and API and SDKs. Okay? I will be very fast in this because we are past the hour. So we need internet connectivity for content streaming, cloud-based service, collaboration, data synchronization, social interaction, location-based services. Wireless communication for device connectivity, peripheral integration, because sometimes gloves and things like that interact by wireless. Networking for this also. Near field communication, because now lots of devices have NFC, and NFC is very cheap. We can buy, I have some tags, NFC tags in my house, just to enable by mobile phone. Bluetooth is a cheap and less consuming technology to connect everything and to enable peer-to-peer communication. Cloud connectivity is for giving streaming the collaborative experience and have persistent content. So to have content that is shared about by everyone. Social connectivity to have multiplayer, sharing, sharing of streaming and broadcasting, hangouts and meetings, so that we can have a augmented reality with a meeting, social presence and collaborative content creation, and APIs and SDKs to write it, and these are the main ones. So I conclude this presentation. I hope that was something. It was not so boring. I know that sometimes this kind of speculations can be kind of boring, but I hope that it was not so bad, and the next days will be more down to earth experiences. Okay. So I pass the word to Inês, that will be ending the session, I think.